Good morning, sir. Good morning, classmates. We are the Group 2, and today we are going to tackle about the hospitality and tourism industry context. And these chapters provide an in-depth perspective of the role of environment and its impact on hospitality and tourism firms. The internal and external environments are defined, and description of the role of the external environment and its impact on the business is elaborated from a strategy formulation perspective. So, let's move on to our first topic, which is characterizing the external environment. Every day, firms deal with both external and internal environments. The external environments lies outside the firm and include individuals, firms, system, and institution that have an impact on it. Influences from the external environment come in the form of changes that occur due to the forces that emanate from it. These forces arise from the trends in the macro and micro environments could present opportunities or pose threats depending on how they impact the firm. Organizations that can scan the environment, track changes, and assess the impact of changes in terms of cause and effect have a more formalized approach to the environment scanning. According to Duncan way back 1972, he defines that the internal environment as the context, such as firm, within which social physical factors are taken into consideration by individuals for decision making. The interpersonal interaction among the members in the internal environment of the firm are what distinguish it from the external environment. And also, according to him, the internal environment contains three components, such as human resource, organizational function, and organizational level. When we say human resource, it is a division of a business that is charged with finding, screening, recruiting, and training job applicants as well as administering employee benefit programs. And the second is organizational functional. It is a type of organizational structure that uses the principle of specification based on function. For example, is the manager comes with assistant manager done with the staffs. And lastly is organizational level. When we say organizational level, it is the company's organizational structure identified by the administrator for purposes of measuring performance under the terms of this plan for the bonus period, which may include without limitation the company, any subsidiary, any region, branch or the geographic location, or any business line or subset thereof. The functional component refers to operations, sales and marketing, human resources, materials management, and administration, while the organizational level refers to products and services, goals and objectives, and the process that integrates personnel with the organization. Scanning the environment itself is not sufficient. Organizations must be able to cope with forces by ensuring that internal resources and capabilities are aligned with the opportunities so they can tap them as they appear in the firm's external environment. Likewise, organizations must be able to counter the threats posed by the changes in the environment. This entire process of identifying strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats is referred to as the SWOT analysis. Strengths and weaknesses lies within the internal environment of the firm. On the other hand, opportunities and threats are external to the firm and emanate from the macro and micro environments in which it is located. CWOT or SWOT provides a situation analysis of the firm in terms of current position in a given market. So, let's move on to our next topic, which is strategic fit and strategic intent. The SWOT analysis provides the firm with an overview of how it is positioned in a given market, the top opportunities and counter threats. The alignment between the firm's internal resources and capabilities and external opportunities is called strategic fit. The fit ensures that firms can align themselves with merging opportunities. because strategic fit expresses the degree to which an organization is matching its resources and capabilities with the opportunities in the external environment. The matching takes place through this strategy. It is therefore vital that the company has the actual resources and capabilities to execute and to be able to support this strategy. According to Hamel and Prahalad way back 1989 to 1994, the pioneers who wrote about the paradigm shift in how strategy, formulation, and implementation were conceptualized. They parted that it is essential for firms to view such positioning from a strategic perspective so they can sustain competitive advantage in the long term. The timing is crucial for firms to be able to ensure that as opportunities emerge, they not only have the resources and capabilities, but are able to tap them at the right time. Critics of the FIT approach have suggested that the complexity associated with acquiring resources and capabilities should also be considered, as it would take time to acquire them. The firm would need to use these strategic resources and capabilities to develop products and services to tap the opportunities. Therefore, opportunities that may emerge cannot be tapped immediately unless existing resources and capabilities are sufficient to tap them. In such cases, the competitive advantage that firms are able to create may not be sustainable owing to less strategic nature of the resources and capabilities employed to create the competitive advantage, which is strategic intent, was put forth by Hamel and Prahalad in 1989, based on the premise that firms would not be able to create sustainable competitive advantage unless strategic resources and capabilities are used to tap opportunities. In this approach, captured a firm posture toward its environment in terms of identifying the opportunities and threats and positioning it is to address them by acquiring resources and capabilities ahead of time. Therefore, resources should be acquired and capabilities should be developed to tap tomorrow's opportunities and threats. The sustainable competitive advantage created by such an approach drives the firm to look into the future to identify potential opportunities and threats. Here, we use Porter's 1980 definition of sustainable competitive advantage, which is the advantage that firms are able to create in the marketplace by being ahead of competition during the time horizon over which existing resources and capabilities are used to the fullest extent. So, let's move on to our next topic, which is environment characteristics. Terms used to describe the environment include environmental uncertainty, environmental volatility, and environmental munificence. When we say environmental uncertainty, it relates to the difficulty of the firm's managers to accurately predict the occurrence of an event. The higher the uncertainty, the more difficult it is for the managers in assigning probabilistic estimated or estimates of the occurrence or non-occurrence of the event. Next is environmental volatility and environmental munificence. The contingency review relates the understanding, the environment and fitting the firm as per the characteristic of the environment. On the other hand, perceptual views to grow including the availability of slack resources is said to be liberal or munificent. On the contrary, illiberality is associated with an environment where maturity has taken hold, strategic resources are difficult to acquire or obtain, and the firms find it difficult to grow. The firm's environment is also described as hostile, turbulent, and dynamic. When we say environmental hostility, it refers to the unfavorable condition in the general of macro environment. For instance, the current economic environment presents a hostile environment for hostility and tourism firms. On the other hand, market hostility refers to unfavorable condition at the task and industry environment levels. In the hospitality industry, Demand and supply and competitive factors could create a hostile market environment. Next is environment turbulence. It refers to the amount of change in the firm external environment categories, including the level of complexity in terms of environmental categories. Take note that the complexity refers to the number of factors in the environment. Lastly is the environmental dynamism. It is the degree of change in the key factors within the firm's external environmental categories. The firm external environment is characterized as being stable or volatile, certain or uncertain, liberal or illiberal. Volatility and uncertainty relate to the change of key variables in a given environment context, an environment in which firms have plenty of opportunities.
Environment dimension, simple complex dimension, and static dynamic dimensions. The simple complex dimensions refers to the number of factors or variables that influence the environment. Mas konti yung factors, mas stable yung environment. Kunyari, yung isang product, konti lang yung nagbebenta o ikaw lang meron ng product na yun. Siyempre, stable yung environment kasi sa'yo lang bibili yung mga tao kasi ikaw lang meron. Kung marami naman yung factors, mas complex yung environment. Kung marami yung supplier ng isang produkto, yung environment ng market na yun is complex. Static dynamic dimensions refers to the degree of change over time related to the factors or variables pertaining to the internal and external environments. Mas konti yung pagbabago, mas static yung environment ng market and vice versa. Kunyari, nung wala pang pandemic, yung demand ng tourism na mataas, static sa mataas. Depende na lang kung peak season or low season. Tapos nung nagka-pandemic, nawala na ng demand. Kahit na mag-peak season, static na lang na mababa kasi nga, bawal talaga mag-travel nun. Environment types. The environment types is classified into various categories para mas madaling ma-analyze yung environment at magamit sa decision making ng isang company. Una, yung the general environment o yung environment sa buong company. The task environment o yung business environment o yung workplace. The industry environment o yung kabuuan, yung buong tourism industry. Understanding the macro environment. The firm is located in an environment that influences its customers and stakeholders. The immediate environment that affects the firm is the micro environment in which it operates. Beyond this environment lies the macro environment, which influences the firm from socio-cultural, economic, technological, political, and legal, and ecological perspective. These categories form the 5 major subcategories of macro environments. Una, yung political or legal. The political and regulatory factors have been instrumental in defining how firms can maneuver, succeed, and expand in local and international markets. Transparent legal and political system, especially in the West, have enabled firms to use franchising as a mode of development in the international context. Lahat naman ng legal business kailangan nakasunod sa batas, kaya kailangan yung marketing decision mo nakasang-ayon din sa political environment mo. Kunyari, magbi-business ka sa ibang bansa o sa ibang lugar, kailangan alamin mo muna lahat ng batas na related sa business mo. Kasi baka yung pwede sa'yo, hindi naman pala pwede sa ibang lugar kasi magkakaiba ng policies yan. Economic environment. The economic environment relates to the growth that emanate from the economy, which includes variables such as the GDP growth rate, interest rates, mortgage rates, stock market performance, foreign direct investment, consumer confidence, and inflation rates. These variables depict the state of the economy and the prospects of business in the economy. Firms would need to track changes in the economy so they will be aware of the impact of these changes in terms of cause and effect. The importance of scanning the economic environment is essential to finding out how the business is being affected from economic perspective. Economic environments, kailangan mo din alamin yung galaw ng economy sa environment mo kung magbi-business ka sa isang lugar. Kaya ba ng spending power nila na i-avail yung product mo? Ano ba yung state ng economy ng lugar at paano yun makaka-affect sa business mo? Alamin mo din yung mga tax, interest rates, demand and supply. Dapat pag-aralan mo yung mga yan para sa tamang decision making.
The sociocultural environment. This pertains to the geographic, demographic, and psychographic descriptions of market and the emerging trends in them. Geographic location of markets, in particular zip codes, countries, states, regions, and national contexts have an influence on the business. Companies like this would need to track down the age, gender, income, occupation, race, and other demographic factors to find out how much of a change has happened. Age, age group, gender, income, occupation, birth, death rate, and race-related factors could easily shape the product market to such as extended business might find it difficult to operate if this change has not been considered in terms of its impact on the strategic orientation of the firm. So dito sa sociocultural environment is all the factors that affecting the business. Like in geographic, which is the location of markets such as zip codes, states, regions, countries, and others. And the sociocultural environment, kasama din dito yung factors like the age, gender, income, race, occupation, and other demographic factors. Psychographic. Factors that influence the lifestyle of the groups of consumer who belong to different generations are important to consider when analyzing the sociocultural effects of the environment. Conceptualization and development of products and services in the tourism industry should in fact be based on how these different groups' idiosyncratic needs and wants are unique and how they would impact the business. Then dito sa psychographic, this is the factors that affecting the lifestyle of the groups or consumer in different generation. This factor is important. It provides valuable insights into consumer motivations, what are they need and wants. It allows you to know your target market. Then, dito sa workforce is hindi pwedeng nakapokus ka lang sa psychographic factors. You need also to focus and to understand your employees' behavior and orientation. This is important because your employees are the ones you can work with. Education. In another aspect that firms have to deal with in the knowledge economy. It is becoming more important for hospitality and tourism firms to hire experienced, qualified employees even if it means recruiting help from the other countries. Education, not only today's, is very important in many aspects, especially when it comes to work. And in hospitality and tourism, education is become more important also in other country in recruiting. Education is important to them. Education means to work is they want to see if you are qualified to do the work. It means education is one of the easiest way to become what you really want in the future. The technological environment. Whereas the economic and sociocultural environment have a significant on the firm, it is equally important to consider the impact of the technological environment that has a major influence on the business over the past 2 decades. Technology has played a major role in the way products and services are consumed, how they are produced, and even how they are marketed and distributed. Technology is one of the most important, especially in business. Technology is the one that making things become more easier or become more fast. Like technology is the one that using to produce products even in promoting your business. In other words, technology is the key of success of many businesses. Hospitality and tourism. Firms have been impacted in a major way that includes demand and supply side related effects. So, dito sa hospitality and tourism, malaki din yung impact niya sa demand and supply. And sa hospitality and tourism is naka-under dito or examples nito ay lodging, travel, restaurant, food beverage services, recreation, amusement, and attractions. Consumers have accessibility to products using the online medium in a way that has driven businesses to create market interfaces that are purely technology-based. So, sa consumer naman, in the use of online, they also can access or can purchase products and they create market promotions to your business. Ecological environment has had a major impact on business in recent years, with more and more firms becoming socially responsible in how they deal with increasing threats related to the environment. Ecological environment is ito yung important to be aware of the actions and strategies of your competitors. So, yung business environment enables firms to analyze their competitors' strategies and actions. Tourism businesses have to redevelop or redesign their systems, processes, and procedures to become more pro-environment in their orientation. Dito naman sa tourism businesses, na redevelop or what we say, they redesign the system, the process which is mas naging pro-environment. When we say pro-environment is nakasabay na siya sa panahon or ano na yung common or popular, dun din sila. Firms are influenced by the more immediate business or task environment, which according to Deal 1958, consists of consumers, competitors, suppliers, and regulators. These four components of the task environment influence the firms in the industries. Consumers or buyers form an important component of the task environment, comprising different groups with different needs, wants, and buying power. Consumer groups with similar needs are defined as part of the segment, and their buying behavior influence firms to position their products and services accordingly. Consumer. So, yung consumer, important component of environment. Consumer is the main source of demand for all the goods and services. Consumers has different want and needs. The consumer behavior is the psychological base. It is how consumer make buying decisions. What are the things that motivates them to make purchase? Competitors form an important element of the task environment. The positioning strategy of the firm defines with whom it competes within the market segment. In the tourism industry, examples of competitors, hotel firms in a given market segment include Ritz-Carlton and the Four Seasons, Marriott and Hilton, Radisson and Ramada, and so forth. The competitive dynamics in a given industry depends on the industry and the product life cycles. Supplies form an important components of the businesses or task environment by supplying raw materials and finished products and goods to the firm. Quality-related issues come to the fore when suppliers are not able to deliver goods and finished products to the firm as agreed. So, dito naman sa competitor, sabi dito is important element of the task environment. This is the one who competes against you in your business. So, dito, meron din tayong tinatawag na indirect competitors. Ito yung competitors that sell a product or services in the same category as you. Suppliers. So, ang suppliers is the one who supply the products. Sa kanila nanggagaling yung mga raw materials and finished products. So, they are the important component of the businesses. Regulators are an extension of a legal environment that set policies, rules, and regulations so firms in a given economy or in industries are engaged in healthy competition. So, ang regulators, they are the one who check your businesses if your business is working according to the law. This is the rules and regulations, policies of the government para magkaroon ng magandang takbo yung business and engage to a healthy competitions. The five forces model. Potential competitors, competitiveness among industry incumbents, buyers' influence, suppliers' influence, and substitute products. Potential competitors. In industry that has the potentials for new competitors, firms to enter and establish themselves in a relatively short period of time is said to have low barriers to entry with a high exposure to risks of potential competitors. Firms in such markets are exposed to risk in terms of eroding profitability. So the first one is the potential competitors are the one who do the same thing that you and your target, the same kinds of customers, but they didn't set to your market.
Competitiveness among industry incumbents. Rivalry among industry incumbents is fierce in a market that has many players that are dealing with slowing growth rates. On the other hand, if the environment is liberal, firms will forbear in order to increase their probability. Industry structure and life cycle have a direct impact on the level of rivalry among firms in markets. So kapag sinabing competitiveness among industry incumbents, ito yung mga dinidevelop sa isang business through competition. So, may mga dapat dinidevelop sa isang negosyo. Of course, the product, the services, and the business itself. Also, kasama din dinidevelop dito is isa yan sa mga incumbents, yung mga leaders, managers, owners, employees for the firm. Yan yung mga ibig sabihin nun. So, hindi lang basta product yung mga pinagkokompetensyahan sa isang negosyo. Like, mas magandang product ko, ganyan. Mas maganda yung mga packaging ko, dyan, ganyan. So, hindi. Yung mga empleyado din dapat yung quality and all the boss, the leader and the firm. Buyer's influence. Buyer influence, come in the form of price discount and demand for better quality and levels of service. Firms can influence buyer group by charging higher prices and providing minimum service at moderate quality levels. So, ang buyer's influence is isa sa mga threat sa pagdating sa hotel and tourism. Kaya dapat lagi tayong naghahanap ng mga buyer na magtitangkilik sa ating product and services. Iisipin dapat palagi ng mga plans kung paano natin mapapanatili si customer na tangkilikin ng ating product and services. For example, dapat kung ano yung mga binabayad nila is deserve nila yung mga better quality na dapat mong ibigay or dapat mas higit pa doon sa price na ibinibigay nila. Yung mga maibibigay mong services para di sila ma-unsatisfied at maisip na mag-try sa iba, or kung mag-try man sila sa iba, dapat babalik at babalik pa rin si customer sa product and services na ino-offer mo sa kanila. And also, pwede rin tayong umisip ng mga promo or price discount since sila yung mga regular customer mo na. Kasi kung maganda yung offer mo at maramdaman talaga nila yung sila yung worth customer, continue lang yung mga pagtatangkilik nila sa service mo. Kasi mas malaki ang magiging impact ni customer sa low ng sales kung lilipat sila sa ibang products and services. Dito papasok yung word of mouth. Kung si customer is maganda yung quality service yung nafe-feel niya sa'yo, pwede din siyang mag-recommend sa ibang family, sa ibang tao, sa friends nila. Yun yung magiging impact ni customer. Nakakapag-ayas pasiya ng ibang customer na pwede rin tumangkilik sa product and services mo. At mas lalong makikilala at mas tataas yung magiging income. Supplier influence. Supplier have a more influence on firms when they can charge higher prices for raw materials and finished goods. In the hospitality and tourism context, suppliers' influence is seen in the case of raw materials supplied to restaurants. When suppliers are able to control the quality and price of raw materials, incumbent firms have no choice but to accept or switch suppliers. Suppliers' influence is isa din sa important na dapat meron ng isang business, especially sa hotel and restaurant firm. Si supplier ay merong napakahalagang role pagdating sa pag-provide ng mga goods and services na i-offer kay customer. Kapag wala na yung mga raw materials, technology, and yung mga ibang needs na source, mahihirapan tayong magparan ng isang business. And mahalaga din na pumili tayo ng mga tamang suppliers na talagang makakatulong sa isang business, dahil kung si suppliers ay magpo-provide or magbibigay ng poor quality, malaki yung magiging effect na to sa ating business, especially pagdating sa hotel and restaurant. Magiging mabagal lang pag-produce ng mga products and services, and worse, makakasira pa to sa reputasyon ng hospitality and tourism business. Kaya dapat kung pipili or kukuha tayo ng mga suppliers para sa ating magiging business, ay dapat yung makakapagbigay sa atin ng good quality service and product, and willing to help na mapalago ang ating business, especially sa hospitality and tourism business. Especially meron mga supplier na mataas magbigay ng mga price or charge para sa mga pinaprovide nilang goods, quality or finished products. Kaya dapat meron tayong good relationship from our supplier. Substitute products. Substitute products are considered when markets are exposed to threats. For example, sales of chicken were up when mad cow disease was at its height. Similarly, chicken products were consumed less when bird flu emerged. Price of products can go up significantly due to increased demand, as seen in the case of chicken and pork. So, ang substitute product is yung dalawang bagay na magkaiba ng name ng product or magkaiba ng company, pero parehas lang yung needs or satisfaction na naibibigay kay customer. For example, ng substitute product ay yung Coke and Pepsi. Magkaiba lang sila ng name ng product, pero parehas lang silang soft drinks. So, halimbawa sa hotel and restaurant, tataas ang income niyan kung yung mga customer is mas tatangkilikin yung product and services mo, and kung ano yung mas demand sa mga tao. Kaya, dapat yung pagpopromote natin ng product and services na ibibigay natin kay client or customer is quality and good. And dapat titignan din natin kung ano yung mga nasa uso. Kung ano yung paano natin to may ma-market para hindi mawala yung satisfaction ni customer. And hindi sila lumilipat or tumatangkilik sa ibang products and services. Lagi natin titignan kung ano yung mga mas gusto ni customer. And kung ano yung mga nasa trend. And also, bibigyan natin yung needs nila para masatisfied sila palagi. The dynamics of competition and strategic groups. Competing firms engage in rivalrous action in markets where customers have higher bargaining power. As firms compete among themselves for market share, they develop similarities and difference in terms of strategic posture and market orientations. Firms that are similar in strategy could be grouped based on certain firms' characteristics in hospitality industry. Hotels like Marriott and Hilton offer similar products in global market based on their positioning strategy. Another example of strategic group is fast food restaurant firms like McDonald's and Burger King. They have similar positioning strategies, product and services, and competencies required to succeed in their product markets. So, sa business, yung competition is treat siya as a healthy standard na talaga nangyayari yan sa business or sa business world. Lalo na sa bansa natin na free-country, free economy. Hindi ikaw lang yung magtatayo ng kunwari, yung fast food or mga magtitinda ng burger. Ganon. Hindi. Pero pwede din magkaroon ka ng kompetensya na ganon din yung produkto. So, titignan yon sa dynamics na sinasabi. Saka sa strategic group. Ibig sabihin, titignan mo yung mga competitors mo kung ano ba yung mga kalagayan ng business nila compared doon sa business na meron ka. Kasi baka mamaya, yung business pala nung iba mas tinatangkilik kaysa sa business mo. Bakit tatangkilik ng iba yung business? Kunwari, bakit tatangkilik ng tao yung McDonald's at hindi yung Jollibee? Halimbawa lang naman yun. No, wala naman tayong ginawang survey or analytic regarding doon. Pero possible, ganun ang mga dynamic and strategies na ginagawa ng isang firm. So, competition, the business is treated as a healthy way of business. So, doon pumapasok yung competition and strategy groups. Environmental scanning and the hospitality and tourism firm. Firms managers constantly scan the environment to keep abreast of developments in the external environment. The need for managers at all levels of the firm's hierarchy to scan for relevant information is extremely important. Many firms are aware of the importance of scanning but do not formalize activities related to it. The scanning process included tracking down trends that have both positive and negative impacts on the firm. Method used to scan include individualistic and collectivistic approaches. So, environmental scanning related to sa hospitality or tourism firm o business. Pag sinabi nating environmental scanning, usually nakafocus dito yung mga managers kasi yung kabuuang nag-organize or nagpaplano pagdating doon sa loob ng business nila. And also, hindi lang loob yung tinitingnan nila, no? Kundi yung labas kasi kailangan sumabay din sila sa pagbabago ng panahon. Sabay sila sa mga uso, yung mga trends. So, pag sinabing environmental scanning, ibig sabihin from the word itself, Scanning, ibig sabihin, tinitignan, ini-scan. Ini-scan mo, sinusuri mo mabuti kung ano yung mga posible na nangyayari sa loob at sa labas ng environment ng business mo. So, usually, mga managers and ang mga nakafocus dito sa ganitong way ng environment ng business. Managers might be influenced by the type of information during the scanning process. Some managers may be inclined to consider more positive pieces of information than negative ones, leading to strategic myopia. The availability of information might be an issue that managers may have to deal with. It is essential that proxies are used that are close substitutes for the information they are intended to replace. So, bakit gano ba kahalaga yung scanning? Bakit kailangan pang tignan ng mga manager yon sa isang firm or lalo na related sa hospitality tourism firm? Kasi kapag hindi nila tinignan yon, mawawala sila sa uso. Posible yung mga tatangkilik ng mga services o produkto nila ng isang business, baka hindi na sila tangkilikin kasi baka wala sila sa uso. Usually, kailangan makisabay ng isang business sa panahon nagbabago. So, kailangan kung yung hotel o kaya yung mga airports, may mga improvements na makikita sa mga ibang competitors or sa ibang bansa. Pati na rin sa ibang business. Dapat kung ano yung mga tinatangkilik ng mga tao, makikisabay din dapat sila sa kailangan may i-upgradation. So, dapat nakafocus sa mga trends, changes, and other sides ng business. Yung mga manager naman, so yun yung mga tinatawag na environmental scanning. The external environment in the international perspective. The environment in international markets has become more liberal with the emergence of the global market economy. The transnational economy, along with the demand for specialized labor, has led to the flow of labor from developing economies to the developed economies. State-of-the-art technology has also helped firms to create intra and inter-firm networks that have made information flow across national boundaries more effective. Globalization has increased the risk exposure of the firm as the resources are stretched to capture growth. So, kapag nagtatayo ka ng isang business, usually, ang mga head ng business na yan ay yung mga nagpaplano ng mga strategic plan, mga nag-o-organize ng mga business. So, hindi sila nag-iisip lang ng kung ano yung mga nangyayari sa business nila o kung ano yung mga internal lang yung iniisip nila. So, out of the box sila na they are planning to expand more. Kaya, usually, karamihan sa business talaga nagkakaroon ng transnational, ibig sabihin, nagkakaroon ng pag-transfer through international other country for the expansion. So, lumalawak yung mga business. And, yun naman talaga yung mga target kasi kapag, kunwari, yung business mo, hindi nagkakaroon ng branch, parang hindi pa talaga siya nakaka-attained ng specific goal na target kasi yun yung mga target talaga ng isang businessman or ng mga manager na nagkakaroon ng other branch. And also, nakaka-apekto din yon sa external environment dahil mas madami kang mabibigyan ng trabaho dahil kukuha ka ng mga empleyado, mas malawak yung mga magpo-provide mong product and services sa mga tao. So, yun yung mga ibig sabihin ng the external environment in the international perspective. So, you have the perspective or meron kang mindset na plano. Iniisip mo na for the expansion of the business. Not just to expand, but to help to develop your business.